UFC 316 is this weekend. All of the links to everything you could need are in the description of this video. Let's jump right into breaking down some fights. We've got a welterweight matchup between Khaos Williams and Andreas Gustaffson. And you might be thinking, wait a minute, didn't I just see this guy break down Gustaffson last week? Yeah, that's correct. I did. And that's because Gustaffson was originally slated to fight last week. Opponent falls out. Khaos Williams needs an opponent for this card. Gustaffson says, yeah, I'll do that. However, he pulls out, his opponent pulls out at the day of the weigh-ins. So Gustafson's already mid-weight cut, all that stuff, and now he's got to do that again. That's tricky. But let's break these guys down skill for skill, shall we? So for Khaos Williams, he's 3-2 in his last 5, 4-1 in the last 5 for Gustaffson. Gustaffson is a, he's a gritty grinder type of guy, right? He's a decent striker with a lot of forward pressure, pretty good volume, has that kind of just barrage style of striking. He is durable, but man, is he reckless. Like, this dude gets hit. And some of his fights, if you want to see fights that are just absolutely bloody, go back and watch this dude's regional scene fights. He's had fights where people are just falling all over themselves because of the blood. It's crazy, right? So the dude gets hit. That is not something that you want to see against Khaos Williams. We'll get into that in a minute. But he is durable. So far, that durability is checked out for him. He's a good grappler, and I think this is going to be his key if he wants to win this fight. He needs to get this going. He wants to get this cage push going. He's not your typical grappler in the sense that he needs to get the takedowns and get on top, do this stuff. He wants to get you up against the cage. That's where he just grinds guys out, starts hitting those knees, those elbows up against the cage. He's gritty there. He's not just cage pushing and not doing anything. He's making things work. He's getting damage off. So he's a good cage pusher in a sense that he does a lot more in the cage push than most fighters who are just cage pushing. He's got good upper body takedowns as well, and if he does get on top, the ground and pound is there. And I'd say his cardio is something that he also uses very well to help him win fights. For Khaos Williams, very different style of fighter than Gustaffson. Khaos Williams is a good striker with a ton of power, a darn good leg kick, but he can get sucked into a brawl. Here's the thing. Khaos Williams has enough power to knock out an elephant, so if he hits Gustaffson, I don't care how durable the guy is. If he hits him flush, clean, got his feet planted, ready to land that bomb, Gustafson's in trouble. But he's going to have trouble getting that shot off with Gustaffson just being in his face, head in the chest all the time. So it's going to be, can he get that shot before Gustaffson closes that distance to be inside of the power? Because punching like this, when a guy's pushed up against the cage with you, you're not getting any power. It's really rare to knock somebody out like that, right? So he's going to need to get that power off at range, at distance, where he can actually land with his power. Decent grappler. He does have good takedown defense for Williams. If he gets on top, his ground and pound's nasty. I mean, the dude's got power on the feet. Of course, he's got more power when he can hit you with gravity on his side and your head bouncing off the canvas. So his ground and pound's nasty. And pre-UFC, he did show some takedown ability, but he just hasn't used it in the UFC. So pretty soon I'm just going to have to get that out of my notes because he just doesn't use it anymore. So either way, the thing that makes me lean hardest towards the Khaos Williams side is the fact that Gustafson's had to do back-to-back weight cuts. And I know this guy's durable, but that'll take that durability away pretty quick, and you do not want that against a guy like Khaos Williams. So for me, I think Khaos Williams is going to spark him. So we're taking Williams to get the win, likely by knockout. I do think if it goes to decision, Gustafson's the type of guy to have way more minutes won. So, be cautious there, but I think Khaos Williams is going to be able to drop him, crack him, hurt him, put him out, whatever he needs to do to get it done. Let me know what you guys think. Lightweight matchup next. Mderos, who you might remember from my breakdown last week, was scheduled to fight. He got sick, apparently, and now he is fighting this week, which is a bit of a red flag. But he's fighting Choinski, I think is how you say that. Mark steps in as the undefeated fighter, 8-0, 5-0 in his last 5, of course. Coming in off the regional scene for this matchup here. They kind of needed another fight for the card, so this one was added, and voila. With that also, Mderos 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Now, the only blemish coming quite some time back on the regional scene for Mderos. Now, when we look at these two guys here, it's a tricky matchup because of the illness for Mderos last week, because we don't really know to what extent he was ill. Some illnesses you can be totally fine in 1 week, and then others you are still feeling the effects for a couple of weeks, even if you're better, like you're good enough to go to your day job or whatever, but you're not good enough to get in a cage and fight someone. So that's a red flag for me. But let's break down their skills and let's put the sickness aside for just a little bit. For Choinski, he's a decent striker, right? I've heard some people saying that he's a good striker, like he's, like he's a better striker than he is a wrestler at this point because he has a wrestling background, all that good stuff. I don't think so. I think it's the level of competition he's been fighting that makes his striking look even better. I think he's a guy that has very creative kicks. I don't mind that. Decent, rangy 1-2. He really gets some extension on that 1-2, and he strikes his way into grappling range really well. I don't think there's a ton more past that, and I do think that if this fight stays on the feet, Mderos should have a significant advantage. But in the grappling, he's a good wrestler. He's a good grappler. The guy has a very, very solid top pressure. He gets his head right in the chest and just kind of grinds guys out, works to advance his position. He's just going just forward, working to get there, and then he'll start working some stuff once he gets past the guard, things like that. He does have a pretty good choke arsenal, and he will not accept bottom. So if he does get on the bottom, dude's just fighting right back to his feet or looking to get on top, re-wrestling his way through, what have you. His takedowns are just kind of so-so. They're decent, but I'm sure in wrestling it's different, but in MMA, his takedowns are just all right. Like the guys he's fighting, the level of competition, it has made things look a little bit different at times because some of the guys he's fighting have like losing records and stuff. He's got a few guys that he beat that had a decent record, but in those matchups, the takedowns don't come so easy, right? But this stuff is all good. It's just the takedowns are they're okay. I think he's going to struggle with takedowns against a guy like Mderos because Mderos isn't bad, right? Mderos is a pretty good striker. He's got good combinations. He fights out of either stance really well. The feints, that awkward style on the feet, the way he moves kind of thing. I think Mderos is going to be the better striker by far. In the grappling, he's decent. He can be taken down. We saw that against Hubbard, but I think Hubbard is the established veteran, obviously. That makes it really tough to beat a guy like that in the UFC, especially when you're still trying to kind of get your foothold. So, but he's a decent grappler. He's got a pretty good cage push. He can wear on his opponents there, and he can mix in his own takedowns up against the cage. I don't think he's going to be looking to do this. I just think that is something that he has in the toolbox. For me, it's Mderos on the feet. There's Choinski on the ground. Who gets their game going? Mderos being sick makes me kind of want to just stay away entirely, being sick last week. But I'll take Mderos to get the win because I think he's the far better striker, and I think that's gonna help him out quite a bit in this one. So we're gonna take Mderos, but yeah, I'm staying so far away from this because the illness is just you don't know. But let me know what you think. Matchup here: Quillan Salkilld takes on Yanal Ashmouz, and I do love it when they have the matchmaking like this, where the guys have the exact same record. I like that. 8-1 for both guys, 5-0 in the last 5 for Salkilld, 4-1 for Ashmouz. Fun matchup. So for Ashmouz. Good striker, tons of power. We've seen him just come in, close that distance, and throw just big, heavy shots. Does a good job at cracking guys with that. Good volume. He has a lot of head movement, and he's tough. Very durable guy. When it comes to his grappling, though, it's decent. He's got takedowns. He'll kind of strike his way into the body lock. Pretty good top pressure. He's got cardio to go a full 15 minutes, no problem. So there's a lot of things to like for Ashmouz. On the other side, there's a lot of things to like for Salkilld. He's a good striker as well. He's got kicks to all levels. Good combinations. He can counter strike well. The elbows are there. He'll put his punches and kicks together in his combinations. There's a lot of stuff to like, but I think he's an even better grappler than he is striker. His takedown defense is a bit lax, but everything else, pretty good. His takedowns come at the end of his strikes. He's got good ability to attack the chokes, transitions from position to position really well, uses the ground and pound, and he's extremely active from his back if he is taken down. The one thing I don't want for the Salkilld side is the takedown defense and active from his back to result in him just being comfortable from the back. We don't really see that too often. I don't think that's going to be the case here. And because of that, I think Salkilld wins this fight fairly comfortably. I think he's going to be able to be the better striker or at least competitive in the striking. I think both guys are pretty good there. But I think he's going to be the far better grappler, even though Ashmouz does have some takedown upside. I'm going to go with Quillan Salkilld. Let me know what you guys think. And I will heavyweight matchup. Azamat Murzakanov takes on Brendson Ribeiro. Ribeiro's 3-2 in his last 5. Murzakanov is undefeated still at 14-0, so 5-0 in the last 5. We'll start on the Ribeiro side. He's a good striker. Long, rangy, straight punches. Plenty of power. He's got a darn good leg kick. He's very kill or be killed, though. So, I mean, this guy is coming in there to try and finish you. And if he doesn't finish you, you're probably finishing him. Good grappling as well for the most part. Very active from his back, but he will accept the bottom position for quite a bit too long before he starts looking for the sweep. He does have good sweeps, but he'll accept that position for too long, looking for submissions, looking for that high elbow guillotine that he likes to attack. All this stuff is great, but on top, he's going to be better off because he's got the ability to ground and pound guys. He's a very big, powerful guy with long, lanky arms. So he's got a lot of good things on top, but if he does end up on the bottom, he's willing to accept that and work, and that can be a problem. Outside of that, though, good grappler. On the other side, Murzakanov, very well-rounded fighter. He's a very good striker, fast hands, plenty of power. I love the step-in knees from him. Those are one of my favorite things. And he picks his shots extremely well. The guy is not just throwing wasted volume out there. He's picking his shots well and making them count, but not at like such a low volume that you're like, man, he's too patient. No, he does a good job with that. Good grapplers as well. He can mix in takedowns. They usually come at the end of his strikes, which is solid. And he's got very good ground and pound as well. Honestly, I think Azamat takes this one pretty easily. We're taking Azamat Murzakanov. He's going to get this one done. Let me know what you think. And I will got a featherweight matchup between Ju Sang-yu and Jeka Saragih. Saragih is 3-2 in his last 5, 5-0 for the undefeated Yu, who is 8-0 on the career. Interesting matchup because Jeka Saragih is the type of guy that's going to go out there and just sling hammers at you. That's what he does. The dude is a good striker with good forward pressure, good power, good combinations, and puts literally everything behind his shots. Can't grapple. He gets controlled once he's taken down. Submission defense isn't very good. But if you don't take him down, this dude is live to win just about any fight in the division just because the dude has some dynamite in those hands, right? And the kicks, darn it. For you, good striker. Now, here's the thing. I hear a lot of people all just saying, oh, yeah, Yu's going to take him down and sub him. Yu's going to take him down and sub him right away, first round. They didn't watch tape on Ju Sang-yu. The guy's a strike-first kind of fighter. Yeah, sure, he could go for the takedowns. That would be a smart game plan if you watch tape on Saragih. But nothing about Ju Sang-yu's game, from what I've seen, suggests he's going to go out there and just start wrestling from bell to bell. As soon as it starts, he's going to go for the takedowns. So I don't know where they're getting that. I think he's going to test the striking with him. I think that's what he wants to do. Maybe he shoots a takedown as the fight goes on. But I think he's going to strike first because he is a strike-first kind of fighter. He has that kind of long, rangy sniper kind of style. That's what he likes to do. He picks his shots really well. He works the body really well. He's got plenty of power, and he's got a nasty calf kick. I think he's going to strike with Saragih, which makes Saragih live in every single fight. However, you should be the cleaner of the two strikers, and he does have the grappling in his back pocket because he is a decent grappler. If he gets on top, his ground and pound is nasty. That man has heavy, heavy ground and pound shots. And he's also got decent takedown defense that he won't need here because if Jeka comes out there shooting takedowns, I will be very surprised. This is a more competitive fight than people are making it out to be, for the fact that I do think it is going to be striking, at least for the beginning, right? I mean, if Yu starts to lose on the feet, there's a chance he goes for the takedowns if he has that opportunity. But I do think he's willing to strike. I still think he wins. I think Ju Sang-yu gets this one done. I am not as confident as everybody else seems to be. And UFC, a little case of the UFC jitters in your debut fight could make this fight very interesting. So for me, this is a watch and see, kind of get a vibe for what I think about Yu, which is always funny because his name is Yu and you are watching. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think I'm being a little too cautious here? I could be. I would love to hear from you in the comments. We got a heavyweight matchup, which is the most spot-on definition of a style clash that I think I've ever seen in the UFC. We have Sergei Spivac, the man with, I don't know what, like 5 or 6 different ways to spell his name. He takes on Waldo Cortes-Acosta. Now, for Cortes-Acosta, he's 4-1 in his last 5, 3-2 for the Spivac side. Now, this matchup, 100% is striker versus grappler. Cortes-Acosta, absolutely the striker. He's a very good striker, mostly boxer, actually. He's pretty much a boxer, right? He comes forward, he's got a solid jab, really good volume with it. He moves well on the feet, good combinations. Zero leg kick defense. Dude's heavy on that lead leg because he's boxing the whole time. He's durable. It doesn't seem to bother him, but he will just eat leg kicks. So good thing for him. He's fighting a guy that probably isn't going to strike whatsoever. But good striker, right? He's going to, if this fight is on the feet for any, lengthy period of time, Cortes-Acosta is winning. However, his takedown defense isn't very good. I know people are like, oh, but he out-grappled Rebellis to Spain. If that's the argument you're using, get out of here, okay? On the other side, it's Sergei Spivac. He's not going to strike whatsoever. I mean, he is going to be a grappler through and through. If he comes out here and tries to strike with Cortes-Acosta, the dude's getting boxed up, like I said. But if he gets a hold of him, Sergei Spivac is a guy who chains his takedowns well. He's got really good throws. He can go to the single leg, the double leg, the body lock. He mixes it all together. He's got a mauling style with heavy ground and pound and an extremely tight squeeze. If this fight gets to the mat, Spivac is dominating. It's just who gets the fight where they want it. If it stays on the feet, it's going to be similar to how we saw Sergei Spivac just look clueless in there against Cyril Gahn. But if it gets to the ground, oh my goodness, is it lights out for Acosta. He's getting ragdolled. That makes it tricky. For me, I gotta side with Spivac. He's fought the better competition. I don't think Acosta has the takedown defense to stop the takedowns. And I don't think his jab, although it's good, is going to be enough power coming back towards Spivac that it's going to stop him from coming in like those body kicks were from Gahn. You got to remember how many times Spivac was able to walk through some of the shots that Gahn was throwing at him before he, eventually realized, oh, I'm screwed here. It took a while. Although I know Acosta is pretty darn good on the feet and he just put out Ryan Spann, I think the levels are different. Give me Sergei Spivac, the guy with numerous different name spellings, the guy who tricks you every time. It's how many points does your name score in Scrabble? Sergei Spivac is getting this one done. He's going to get it to the ground, and he might even be able to get a finish fairly early. Let me know what you think. At the women's flyweights next, Wang takes on Ariane Lipski de Silva. De Silva's 3-2 in her last 5 fights, 4-1 for Wang. And when we look at this fight, both of these ladies are primarily strikers, but one is going to be a bit more willing to use the grappling. For Wang, she is a solid striker with very good combinations. She cuts off the cage really well and has really solid power shots. She also has a good side kick that she'll use to control the range. She'll use it when her opponents are backing away, and she can use that side kick to catch them on the way out where her arms could no longer reach, or as her opponent is crashing into range and she says, no, I want to be the one closing the distance, not letting you close the distance on me, and she used that side kick as a range control that way. One thing I don't like, and it is actually what got her caught in her matchup where she was dropped and choked out, is that as she gets comfortable, she starts to kind of keep her hands down right here, right? So she'll be throwing those side kicks, and instead of bringing the hands back up top, she'll keep them down low. And that can be a problem for someone if they're fighting a skilled striker, which she is in this matchup. She did get, and a lot of people are going to say, oh, she got out-grappled. You didn't watch the fight. You just looked at the end result. Yes, she got choked out. She got head kicked and dropped. And then the rear naked choke just came because, if you're head kicked and on Dream Street, basically, you're not defending a choke well. That's what happened. So yeah, it was that. That was the problem. Decent grappler though. She does have pretty good takedown defense. She just kind of throws her opponents out of the way and tosses them or slams them to the mat because she's a very physical specimen for this division. And that's kind of her takedown defense, is she'll just slam her opponents down. And we haven't seen it at the UFC level, but on the regional scene quite a bit. She's got strong ground and pound as well. I do like that for her in the grappling department. Now, on the other side, Lipski de Silva, good striker. She's got solid kicks. The kicks are probably her best weapon here. Good combinations as well, and she'll put those punches and kicks together in combination. But also the flurries. She'll be out at range. She'll come in with that flurry of strikes, and then she'll get back out at range, and she'll do this frequently. And that's something where she's probably going to have the better volume in this matchup is De Silva, but the power edge is definitely going to go to the Wang side. So in the grappling, I think Lipski is the better grappler. I just don't know that she has the ability to get the fight to the mat. She doesn't really have the best takedowns, and she also can be controlled on the mat herself, but she does have decent takedown defense. It's improved very much in recent memory, and she has some nasty submissions. We've seen this girl do some nasty things to a person's knee before with that brutal knee bar. If you go back and look that fight up, that was something, right? Now, I am torn on this one because on one hand, I understand that this could be a primary striking matchup and Wang should be just a little bit better in the striking. But on the other hand, the volume is going to go to De Silva, and this could be a gosh darn close fight. It only takes a couple of shots to really swing this one. The odds are kind of wide. I don't know that I have any underdogs on this card so far, so I'm really tempted by the Lipski de Silva pick. Screw it. I'm going to do it. We're going to take Ariane Lipski de Silva. I think the volume's there. I think she has the ability to land some decent shots on Wang. And I think Wang, being a good striker, a really solid striker, when she gets a little bit too comfortable, I think that can cost her against someone like Lipski de Silva. Let me know what you think. I could be way off here, but it is what it is. We're taking Lipski. Per usual, the flyweights are coming to bring it for this fight. We have Joshua Van taking on Bruno Silva. Both guys 4-1 in their last 5. Both guys likely going to come out here and put on a show. We've got Joshua Van, who is a very, very solid striker. He's going to come forward, establish his jab, mix in the leg kick. He's got power in the hands. He's got that slip and counter style. What does that mean? He'll let that punch sail over the shoulder and then strike back with his own strike. The slip and counter, it's one of those things where, like, as you're going forward, you're able just to keep moving forward as you're slipping shots, and he does it extremely well. Sure, he eats some. Don't get me wrong. He's going to get hit sometimes. When you're trying to make shots miss by the most narrow of margins, you're going to get hit. But a lot of times, he's not getting hit flush, and he's just letting them sneak by, right? So he's slipping through these straight shots and then landing his own shots on the way in. He's a short, small guy for the division, so it's hard for him to close that distance. But that slipping style works for him. That's how he gets in tight. Once he gets in tight, he's going to start ripping the body. He does lack leg kick defense. That is a problem for him. But other than that, he's a very solid striker, and I think he has a lot of good tools there. Decent grappling. It seems to be improving. He's got a good coach for this. Pineda is his coach. Dude's a fantastic grappler. Joshua Van is getting better at the grappling. We've seen him mix in takedowns. They're decent. I don't think he's going to do that here, and I think it'd be stupid if he did. He's active from his back if he does get taken down, but his takedown defense, that's the thing. It gets better as the fight goes on. He is a slow starter in general, don't get me wrong, but the takedown defense is the thing that really exemplifies that, because his takedown defense in the first round is just kind of like, all right, but as that fight goes, by that third round, this dude's stuffing everything, right? He does have great cardio. The dude puts up extreme amounts of volume as the fight goes on. I think Joshua Van is very, very tricky to fight if you are in the flyweight division. But he's fighting Bruno Silva. This dude is a nasty striker. This guy's got good power, good forward pressure. He's got some of the worst, this brutal kicks, good lateral movement as well. But he does do frequent spins, and I don't know. Spinning attacks are, they're really, really good when they pay off. Like a spinning back fist will put most people unconscious. But when you miss, it could end up really bad for you. But he's a solid grappler as well. Bruno Silva, if he gets this fight to the mat, he should have a significant advantage. He doesn't have, the highest rate of takedowns. Like, he's not going out there and shooting takedowns left and right. The guy's typically going to be willing to strike because he knows he's got stupid power in those hands and nasty, nasty kicks. But if he gets it to the mat, he's got slick transitions. He's very quick to attack submissions, super opportunistic on the mat, but he doesn't accept bottom position either. So if he ends up on bottom, this dude's scrambling to get to the top, working back to his feet, or using a submission to change the position. So attack a sub when the guy has to defend the sub. That's how you sweep. That's how you get out, whatever. Bruno Silva is a very, very tough fighter. Joshua Van is a very, very tough fighter. This is a very good fight. But I have to go with Joshua Van. I understand the odds are wide. I'm not going to be betting on Joshua Van at, minus 500 or something crazy like that. But he should win. And I think it's going to be because the takedown defense is there. And I think on the feet, as the fight goes, he's going to just pick it up and just keep going, add in that volume and just keep landing those shots. So I've got to go Joshua Van. But this is just a watch fight. This is one of those fights. You're going to crack open a nice cold root beer. You're going to kick your feet up on a coffee table. And you're just going to enjoy the show, because this one should be fireworks from start to finish, and that's what we like to see. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. 35-pounders here. Mario Bautista welcomes newcomer Patchy Mix to the UFC. Now, Patchy Mix, he's 5-0 in his last 5 fights. He's got a single loss in the career. He's a former Bellator champion, defending champion when the promotion shut down. But PFL dropped the ball, and now here he is in the UFC. He's taking on Mario Bautista, who's 5-0 in his last 5 fights. The guy's only got 2 losses on the career. He's been on a real run lately. This should be a very interesting matchup. Now, for Patchy Mix, we're going to start over there. He's a good striker, but he's definitely more of a grappler. But he is a good striker, predominantly because the grappling threat sets up the striking, and also because he has such a lanky build for the division. He's able to land stuff like he'll poke out the jab, right? And he's got those long, lanky arms. And if you got long, lanky arms, it doesn't take much to have a pretty good jab, right? Especially if you're a fighter. I mean, if you're just some dude working in an office that has lanky arms, I don't expect your jab to be worth anything if you've never trained martial arts. But that's not the point I'm trying to make. I'm trying to say that a guy who is a fighter, even if he's not a striker predominantly, if you've got that lanky build, the jab is there. And that's what Patchy Mix has. He's also got really good kicks and knees up the middle, because he, again, the lanky frame to him, he's able to throw the knee up the middle and oftentimes get to the chin of his opponent, who is typically going to be shorter, much easier than a guy who is short and trying to get the knee to a chin of someone who is much taller. He's also got good kicks up the middle. That front kick is probably his one of his best weapons on the feet. So there's a lot to like, but the grappling is where he gets it done. He's a very solid grappler with pretty good takedowns, and they come at the end of his strikes. He does work to advance position immediately. He's very position to position, does what he needs to do. He's not doing anything super risky, but he's very good at getting to positions. He's good at taking the back. He's got super good control, especially once he gets to the back. He's got a nice submission arsenal, particularly in the choke department. Now, people are going to say, oh, but Patchy Mix hasn't grappled with the guys at the UFC level. I would say that's not exactly true, because he's got a lot of guys who are, former UFC, or guys that probably could be at the UFC level, no problem. And something that's really impressive to me is the way he just absolutely dismantled Sergio Pettis on the mat. Because Sergio Pettis, yeah, I understand he's a guy who is no longer in the UFC, but he's a guy that's not a bum by any means. And Patchy Mix just ran through this man on the ground and treated him like it was like your first day at jiu-jitsu class. You show up and the brown belt's on the mat, and he's like, yeah, come roll with me, kid. And it just beats the brakes off you. That's what that was. Patchy Mix just ran through Pettis on the ground. Maybe it wasn't quite that bad. I'm exaggerating a bit, but it wasn't close. On the other side, we have Mario Bautista. Mario Bautista is a guy who weaponizes his pace extremely well. He's used that to beat guys that, maybe he shouldn't have beaten. We all know about the Jose Aldo fight. I get it. But Mario Bautista is a guy that's putting that pace on people. He's pushing them up against the cage. He's getting the strikes going, all that good stuff. He does what he needs to do. He's a good striker. He's the better striker of these two. He doesn't have the natural length that a guy like Mix has, and the ability there. But he does have very good striking, good movement. I like the volume, the outputs there. He does leave his chin exposed sometimes. That could be a problem, but he does have plenty of power. He's going to have the more power on the feet typically. A knee to the face changes things. But like when you're talking punches and kicks, I would say Bautista is going to be the more powerful, the more volume-heavy striker, and probably the cleaner striker with better movement. Definitely better movement. That's not even close. But the grappling, he's solid as well. He's got darn good takedowns, scrambles with some of the best of them. He seeks his submissions, and he has a pretty darn good rear naked choke. I know both of these guys are solid grapplers. I think Mix is the better grappler. I know both of these guys are good strikers. I think Bautista is the better striker. This fight is interesting for a lot of reasons. I've got to side with Mix, because I think the natural advantages on the feet are going to negate the skill gap more than I think Mario can negate the skill gap on the ground. So I'm going to go Patchy Mix with the length on the feet and the grappling skill. And I think once he gets to fight to the mat, he's going to be able to take over. But let me know what you think. I will see you. We got a battle of the Darce chokes here, folks. But first, I have a request from you. I'm working on a little project here, and an interesting video for an upcoming off week that we'll have around July 4th, the Independence Day weekend that the United States has. So I'm looking for some stuff, right? I've got two options in mind for a video that weekend, but one of them, I need some help. I need you. I don't think YouTube will let you put links in the comments to things, but if it will, that'd be great. If not, you can message me on like Twitter or Instagram. I might see it in the request folder. I might not, but give it a shot. I'm looking for some of the craziest fights you guys can find. I'm not talking UFC stuff or whatever. I'm talking like street fights or like weird Russian promotions with all sorts of crazy stuff, or like some fights in some dude's backyard type of thing. I'm looking for crazy, weird fights, like wild stuff. If you guys can drop some links for me, if you guys can send me those or whatever, awesome. So the reason I need you to send them to me is because I don't want to watch them ahead of time to find these, because I'm going to need a fresh set of eyes for the project. So if you guys could do that for me, that would be awesome. Let's break down this fight. Vicente Luque takes on Kevin Holland. Both these guys are 2-3 in their last 5. So, you know how it is. Neither guy's doing super well in the last 5. For Kevin Holland, solid striker. Dude's got great range control, plenty of power. He's super accurate. He actually has a really good striking defense, and he has very, very fast hands. Where he falters, it's in the grappling. Sure, he's good at jiu-jitsu. He's got good sweeps, good scrambles. He's quick to attack submissions, particularly the front chokes, particularly the Darce choke. He's very active from his back, but he has bad takedown defense, especially when he's fighting guys that are bigger and more powerful and physical than him. And he can also be held down pretty bad. So sure, he's got sweeps and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. But once somebody with pretty good size and power on him and strength, once they get him down, he's stuck. He is stuck. On the other hand, we got Vicente Luque, who is not the Luque of his prime. And I understand he's not that old. Man, he still doesn't look quite right. I know he's coming off win, whatever. He does not look quite right. He is a solid striker, though. Tons of power. He's got a nasty lead hook. Puts together combinations. His counter striking is extremely good, and a lot of it is that lead hook. He's a good grappler as well. He's got really good ground and pound. His top control is pretty good, but the best thing about him is that darn Darce choke. He uses it mostly to defend takedowns, though, and I don't think he's getting in any risk of having Kevin Holland shoot a takedown on him. This fight's probably going to be a striking matchup for the most part, unless Luque can really get that wrestling going early. And I don't know that he does. Because of that, I've got to take Kevin Holland. It's hard to do, but I think in the striking, he's going to have better range. I think he's going to have more power. I think he's going to have better defense. And I think once he starts landing on Luque, Luque's toast. I think Luque can't take the shots from Holland like he once did. I understand everybody's, oh, that's just a narrative, whatever. Luque still isn't reacting the same to strikes. I know he won his last fight. I'm not overlooking that. Holland is a different fighter, and Holland hits very hard. I'm taking Kevin Holland. I think he lands some shots, and I think Luque doesn't like that, and I think he gets out of there. So we're taking Kevin Holland. Let me know what you think. And also, again, I appreciate you guys for sending me those links. I wanna get this project going. I know we got a little while yet. July 4th is a ways away, but we need something for that weekend. So thank you guys. See you next. In a matchup that was originally slated for a card in Mexico quite some time back, we have Kelvin Gastelum taking on Joe Pyfer. That fight fell out originally because Pyfer got sick. Happens. He had some choice words. That's neither here nor there. The fight is what the fight is, and that's where we're at now. 4-1 in the last 5 for Pyfer, 2-3 in the last 5 for Gastelum. Gastelum, who is a guy who just seems to not really care as much as he once did. That's an issue for me. But for Pyfer, good striker. Got good forward pressure, serious power, works the body well, and he's extremely dangerous in the pocket. He's a good grappler as well with powerful takedowns, good control. The ground and pound is there, and he's got an extremely tight squeeze when he starts working for those chokes. On the other side, for Gastelum, plenty of skills. It's just, is the work ethic going to back it up? He's got good striking, really good movement. He's got power in the hands as well. The volume's there, and he's always been known to be super durable. Good grappler. He's got good top control, really good takedown defense in space. However, up against the cage, his takedown defense has failed him quite a few times in the past. Honestly, though, I just think this is one of those fights where Gastelum he just doesn't seem to care as much as he once did, and I don't think that he's putting in enough effort to beat a guy like Joe Pyfer. I think Pyfer is going to be the better fighter, hits harder, more powerful, more physical. I think he has all of the advantages in this fight other than that veteran savvy. So we're going to take Joe Pyfer to get the win. Man, it's tough to say somebody could finish Gastelum, but I think if anybody could, it's Pyfer. So let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next event, folks. Juliana Pena takes on Kayla Harrison, where Juliana Pena is defending her bantamweight championship of the world that she won in a controversial decision in her last one over Raquel Pennington. And guys, I thought Pennington won the fight. Don't get me wrong, but it was very competitive. Looking back, as much as I want to say Raquel won for sure, it was close. I still think Raquel won, but it was close. It wasn't the worst robbery I've ever seen. Let's put it that way. I can understand how someone could get to the Pena side. Anyway, Pena's 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Wild that she's the champion with 3-2 in her last 5, but that's just how it falls sometimes. 4-1 in the last 5 for Harrison. That one loss coming back in the PFL, not in the UFC. Now, when we look at this matchup here, Kayla Harrison, decent striker, right? It's essentially because her grappling threat is so good that it sets up the hands. She's got some power there. She's a big, strong girl, and she strikes well to get to the clinch. So, yeah, decent striking, but a solid grappler. This woman's got fantastic throws, very good top pressure. She's very quick to advance her position. The ground and pound's pretty good, and she does have a nasty arm bar, especially because when it comes off of a lot of these throws, these judo-style throws that she has, a lot of times these people that are longtime judo practitioners they're taught to keep the arm of their partner as they throw them, or their opponent as they throw them, and they keep that for the arm bar. So she gets the throw, she's got the arm already right here, boom, locks that sucker in. So the arm bar is there, and it's set up by those throws. On the other side, we have Juliana Pena, and a lot of people are saying, oh, Kayla Harrison's so much better than Pena. Pena's the better striker, guys. I'm not out here throwing something crazy at you. Pena's a better striker than Kayla Harrison. You understand that the grappling is probably going to be on the side of Harrison. But Pena's a good striker. She's got good forward pressure, good volume, puts together basic combinations. And by basic, I don't mean bad. By basic, I mean she keeps them simple, and she does a good job with them. And she's tougher than a $2 steak. This woman can come forward, eat some shots, and throw right back. So on the feet, I give the edge to Pena. In the grappling, not as much. She is a good grappler, don't get me wrong. She's got decent takedowns. Good ground and pound. She often uses that ground and pound from mount just to force her opponents to give up the back and get the rear naked choke. I don't see that happening here unless we see Harrison like fall off a cliff as far as like cardio goes, which is very possible because Pena has a darn good pace that she can put on people, and she can do that for 25 minutes, no problem whatsoever. So that is a real threat. But I think on the mat, we've seen Pena kind of lose to people who are solid submission grapplers before. I think that is something that could be a problem for her. I think on the mat, obviously, Kayla Harrison's going to have a big-time advantage. But I think on the feet, I think people are overlooking Juliana Pena. I also think people are overlooking the fact that she will put a pace on Harrison. And although Harrison is an elite athlete and obviously an Olympian, as well as a PFL champion, as well as a darn good competitor in the UFC, I don't think she has the pace that Pena does. I think that this line is wide. And I think that, yes, Kayla Harrison has a very clear path to victory, and that is getting that grappling going. But I also think Juliana Pena has a very clear path to victory, and that's put a pace on early, get the striking going, and just sell out for the takedown defense. Or if you do get taken down, do everything in your power just to stay safe. Don't risk it. You have 4 more rounds outside of whatever one you've gotten taken down in. Pena's live. I'm taking Juliana Pena to get this one done. I understand she's supposed to lose. She should lose. Everybody wants her to lose. I think she can pull the upset. Let's take Juliana Pena, the champion, and still. Let me know what you guys think, and I'm sure it's opposite of what I just said, but I'll see you in the main event of the evening, folks. If you've continued watching this video this whole time and you're enjoying yourself, or maybe you just use the timestamp to skip here and you're just a kind individual and you'd like to hit that like button, I would appreciate it very, very much. Drop down below the video, like button right there. I know if you're watching on a TV, it's kind of a pain in the butt. Chances are you can pull it up on your phone and hit it there while being connected. But either way, let's break down this main event. Merab Dvalishvili takes on Sean O'Malley for the UFC Bantamweight Championship of the world. This is a rematch. Yes, first fight was interesting to say the least. It was pretty much all Merab until the 5th round, where O'Malley really landed a nasty body shot and hurt Merab. Had he done that earlier in the fight, could he have put him away? Maybe, but he did not, and Merab retains the title in a fairly dominant match. Now, for Sean O'Malley, he's 3-1 and a no contest in his last 5. The no contest obviously was, it was what it was, but the loss was coming to Merab. Merab is 5-0 in his last 5. Very dominant champion, coming off of some pretty gosh darn good wins. So, let's look at Sean O'Malley first. Now, I have a lot more notes on these guys, but I put them up on the Patreon for everybody if they'd like to read them. If I wrote them all on the board, we'd be here for way too long. So we just pick out the things that I think are going to make sense for this matchup, and then maybe a couple of others. But that's why the notes look shorter sometimes than others, and sometimes they look longer than others. I'm trying to pick and choose, right? So anyway, for Sean O'Malley, the dude is a solid striker. He's, without question, the better striker of the two. That is not a question. He does have really good feints. He's got super nice, long, straight punches. He switches his stance with his kicks. He can fight on either stance regardless, but he a lot of times will throw the kick and use that as a stance switch to kind of use it to either gain ground or disguise that switch and then throw it a punch with the rear hand now, so you can get the power of like a rear hand shot rather than like a jab, for example. So say he's standing orthodox, he throws that kick off the back leg. Even if whether he lands or not, he drops that leg in front. Now he's standing southpaw, can throw that southpaw cross and land his power there. It's beautiful stuff, really. Good footwork, super accurate. His striking defense is solid. He also uses the range control really well for that striking defense. Because he's such a long, lanky guy, he's really hard to hit. If this was just a striking matchup, he wins no problem. It's the grappling is the problem. He's not bad in grappling. He's, in fact, a very good grappler. Merab is just an animal. He's got decent takedown defense, and he's really good at just avoiding letting people get to the hips. And once they grab, they'll maybe grab a leg because that's all they can get a hold of, and he just kind of limp legs the knee down, gets himself out. The problem is when people are just so persistent, like a Merab, that's when you can take him down. He's really good at staying safe on the mat, though. He doesn't take a ton of damage typically, and he's pretty good at fighting his way out of submission attempts, things like that. So it's not like he's just getting ragdolled on the mat, but he sure is having a hard time getting away from a guy like Merab. So for Merab, decent striker. It's set up by the grappling threat. He has that spinning back fist in his arsenal. It's unorthodox, it's wild, and it works. Pretty good leg kick, and he's durable. Dude just takes shots. Sure, he gets wobbled, but doesn't stop him, doesn't slow him down, just keeps on coming. The grappling, though, that's where he gets it done. He has relentless takedown volume that he uses to shut down his opponents. If he is constantly shooting takedowns on them, They are not defending. They're not on offense. They're just defending. That is what I meant to say. They are on defense. And if you're on defense, it's really hard to win a fight because defense does not win fights. You're not knocking somebody out by slipping a punch. You're not knocking somebody out by defending a takedown typically, unless you defend it with like a flying knee or something. But point is, his relentless takedown offense, just chaining those takedowns together, consistent volume, shuts down the opponent's ability to get much offense off, and then he'll mix in some of his strikes in addition to that and just kind of land his own stuff. He does have, lackluster top control, but outside of that, it doesn't really matter because he's able to just take guys down. Super high motor, insane cardio. Here's how I think this fight looks. Merab is winning not every round, most of the rounds by just doing more. O'Malley probably steals a round, maybe two, by landing a shot. Hurting Merab, maybe drops him at some point, but he's still just not winning the minutes. And I think that's going to lead to a Merab decision. So I think Merab is going to win. However, Merab is not finishing Sean O'Malley, I don't believe. That can come back to bite me sometimes. I don't believe Merab is finishing Sean O'Malley. He doesn't finish a ton of fighters. And O'Malley's pretty tough, right? He's a pretty durable guy. I mean, he got finished by Marlon Vera, but that was kind of a weird thing where he had where you hit the perennial nerve or whatever, and his leg just kind of, it happens. Not much you can do about that. But outside of that, I don't think O'Malley is going to get knocked out by Merab. I feel like if Merab's winning, it's probably a decision. I just feel that's the only way I can only see decision or like crazy accident. So decision. If there's a finish, it's probably on the O'Malley side. Do with that information what you will. I'm still going to take Merab to get the win. I do think O'Malley could win if he lands the shot. You know what I mean? He can do it. But yeah, Merab's likely getting it done. I think the odds make a little bit of sense, but they're just enticing enough that make you want to go to the O'Malley side. But thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Like the video. It's awesome. Drop your comments below. I appreciate you guys. Send this to your friends, and I'll catch you all down the road.